Good morning, 8th grade. This video is just for you, so feel extra special. Already there's been a few questions on some of the worksheets and things involving flowers for Algernon and the essay. So a couple things. First of all, when looking at some of your answers to the questions about flowers for Algernon, I don't know if you all understood the ending. So hopefully you noticed early on in the story that the writing in his journal was very poor, and that as the experiment went on, it increased and it got better as his mental abilities were increased. Hopefully you noticed the relationship between him and Mrs. McKinnon. And I always said that name wrong before, and I'm saying it wrong now on the video. Miss Kinnian? Hope you noticed that relationship too. I hope you noticed the relationship between the co-workers and how they treated Charlie, how he ended up losing his job, all of these things. In the end, he sees Algernon the mouse, his friend, dies. Okay, this is a sad story. Okay, then it's the result of the experiment, obviously. He sees himself starting to decline. He sees himself starting to have some of these same symptoms. So when I asked the question, what do you think happened to Charlie? Some of you said he went to heaven. Legitimate answer. Some of you said things like, oh, he just moved on and was fine. He wasn't fine, guys. So please, I hope you understand the story. If you did not, take a look back at it again, since again, we will be writing about this after spring break. In all of the PDF about handouts, you had a handout that has an essay outline. Hopefully this is very familiar after a Midsummer Night's Dream essay. The next one was a list of transitions. So something to remember as we begin actually writing the essay is that we need to link ideas for our reader. Help them follow our train of thought. Use transition between a detail and an example. Use transitions between one paragraph and another. The assignment to read, worksheet 2, has very specifics about how you use MLA documentation for quotes. This might seem like the most boring handout I give you, and believe me, I wish I could just teach this whole thing, but I gotta keep this short. Please read this. The big things. If it's a short quote, you use quotation marks. And then if you have mentioned the work earlier on, when we do this essay, you will mention that all of these quotes are coming from Flowers from Algernon. Then all you have to do to document it is you do the quotation mark, quote, quotation mark, no punctuation. After the last quotation mark, parentheses, the page number, parentheses, then you do your punctuation. That's for your short quotes. If you have a long quote, then you do a special indenting thing. You don't have to use quotation marks. You don't have that same punctuation rule. So make sure you know the difference between short quotes and long quotes. Worksheet 22, and I'm going to put this as a separate doc since the PDF seems to be having issues, okay, is practicing this, trying to make sure you understand it. This I need to see because I need to make sure you understand this. Again, it's very dull, has to be done this way, but by doing this correctly, then you're not plagiarizing. That's the huge thing. Using quotes, and if you're not saying who quoted it or where you got the quote from, it's plagiarism. Don't do it. Last but not least, the assignment. This is due after break. You have all of break, but get it done before break. This is the essay pre-plan. Okay, you have questions that you get to choose that will guide your essay. The first one, how does the experiment affect the relationship of Charlie and his co-workers at the factory? Notice that you're looking for 3 body paragraphs that will answer this question. You need to write the thesis. Don't just write the question. Write an answer. The relationship between Charlie and his co-workers was affected, and you say how it was affected. Okay? You may want to, for your 3 body paragraphs, start with before the experiment, during the experiment, after the experiment. That might be the easiest way to organize your essay. Number 2, how does the experiment affect the relationship of Charlie and Miss Kinnian? Kinnian, I can never say it now. Kinnian. Okay, so again, before, middle, end might be a way to do it. Which of Charlie's personality traits remain the same during the story? So you're going to need to look for personality traits, see which ones stay the same. 4, even though the experiment fails, what does Charlie gain? So here you'd be looking for 3 things that he benefited by doing the experiment. Okay, don't say intelligence because did that actually last? 5, how does Charlie's participation in the experiment affect his life? So here you would find 3 areas where it affected his life. You might choose his job, relationships, other kinds of things. Okay, if you have questions about this, send out a comment, whatever you need to do. Hopefully this makes sense. I love you all, my 8th grade. Essays online are stressful, but we got this.